Hi everyone, welcome to Ethernal Realms and welcome to the month ahead astrology reading. Make sure you check your sun, moon, and rising signs for a comprehensive view of the month. Additionally, I would recommend watching the tarot reading of the month ahead to get a different perspective. While you will know the astrology in advance through this session, I will also send you a reminder when the astrological events are near. All you have to do is subscribe, hit the bell, and you will be notified as the events occur through my community page. I occasionally post behind the scenes, meditation guidance, quizzes, and polls, which you can check out for yourself. And it goes without saying that you will be notified when new videos are out, such as other zodiac readings and pick a card tarot readings as well. If you prefer to cut down the guesswork about your month ahead, you can always connect with me via Etsy to get a personalized week-by-week month ahead tarot reading paired with the general astrology. Enough about me, let's talk about you. So let's talk a little bit about the overview of the month first. We have two full moons this month. One on the 1st of August is a full moon in Aquarius, and on the 31st we have a full moon in Pisces. On the 16th, we have a new moon in Leo, so lots of lunar events occurring this month compared to the previous ones. Other interesting things is that Mercury is going to go retrograde in one of its home signs, Virgo, and the shadow period for that is going to start on the 3rd of August, and the retrograde itself occurs on the 23rd of August. The zodiac sign moves from Leo season to Virgo season, also on the 23rd, and Mars is changing signs from Virgo to Libra on the 27th. Apart from that, we have Uranus in Taurus going retrograde as well. And keep in mind, Venus is still retrograde at this time, and so is Neptune, even Saturn. So we have lots of planets going retrograde. Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, Venus as well. Okay, so lots of retros. Okay, let's get into it and see what this means. So on the 1st of the month, we have a full moon in the sign of Aquarius, and that is falling in your 10th house of career, public reputation, your status in life, your goals and ambitions as well. So there can be this form of culmination or a pivot or turning point that comes about from this space, or there's a space of clarity that's forming within your mind, and that is later going to lead to some shifts and changes. This can also be talking about finding better balance with regards to what you want to achieve in the world and what you already have amassed so far. So your home and family, your roots and ancestry, as well as where you're headed and the revolutions you're causing in your external environment. On the same day, we have Mars trining with Jupiter, and Mars is in Virgo, Jupiter is in your sign, so this is a favorable aspect for you. This indicates that there is personal growth and personal development. There are some lucky breaks that can be coming towards you, or you're feeling just extra magnetic at this time. More social events could be occurring which are more fun in nature. The 5th house, Virgo, talks about your romantic life as well, your dating life, your creativity, self-expression, inner child. So you can be getting quite busy in this regard, and that is bringing in some pleasant vibes towards you. There can be some nice connections and communications that you're having around this time, or some fun activities you're doing at this time that just brings you a lot of joy. On the 2nd, we have Mercury in Virgo, right opposite Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is retrograde at this time. So this is about finding a good balance between what you do for yourself with regards to your hobbies and self-expression and what you're putting out there in the world or towards your friend circle and network. So this can indicate that perhaps you have some conversations you need to get to with regards to your clients, your aspirations, or yes, your friend groups. And at the same time, you are kind of thinking about how you would like to rest and relax when you get home, how you would like to wind down, and maybe you have some plans for yourself at this time. It is likely that there is a little bit of a push and pull type of dynamic because you're needed elsewhere. But, as with the oppositions, it is about finding that balance, finding moderation on both sides. We can't only do the things that we enjoy, we can't only do the things that others would want us to do. So, striking that balance is a good idea. On the 3rd, Mercury enters shadow zone. It is about to go retrograde in Virgo. So it is going to enter that degree. So take note of what happens around this time. From this point onwards, you're likely to reevaluate certain conversations or certain plans that you're making within yourself or with a loved one. On the 7th, we have a square between the Sun in Leo in your home and family sector with Jupiter in Taurus, which is your sign. So this can talk about your interests versus your family's interests. There can be some relationship struggles or some ego battles, something of that sort related with home and family dynamics. If this is not already an ongoing situation and you don't see this coming up, no worries. This still talks about some, expansion that you want to be doing with regards to you, how you feel now, and maybe some modifications with your home situation. That's something that's coming up, but you might not be there yet, or there still needs to be some type of action or clarity that is coming in. For example, you're desiring to remodel your kitchen, but your parent figures probably have some idea of how to remodel a kitchen, and they're like, okay, well, you gotta need this, and this, and you don't yet have that. So that can be a little bit frustrating because you would just love to go ahead and create those dreams a reality right now, but there might be certain things that you need to think about first. This does not mean it won't happen. It just means there are some other things to also keep in mind. Okay, on the 9th, we have Venus in Leo squaring with Uranus in your sign. So it's the same houses being activated for you, but the planets are different. And Venus is retrograde at this time. So there is a need to reevaluate what is home, what is love, what is beauty, and how you feel when it comes to your childhood or your sense of creativity and artistic skills. Because with the 4th house Leo, it means that you are very artistic and creative, but you might have these latent, or you're not choosing to express them as loudly as some of the other parts of your chart. Of course, that depends on your personal planets, what is going on in Leo, or where is the sun placed for you. But we'll not get into such specifics. We can do that in a personal consultation if that's something you're looking for. But just in general, this indicates that you have inherent talents. And with a square with Uranus, we always talk about breaking free and breaking open. Something where you have been resisting, or the opportunities just have not arose for some reason. They can come about here, or you have this idea that, okay, well, we can do a workaround. We can think differently, and we can try to engage this side of us differently. This can also talk about evaluating how your love language was, or the love language you were exposed to when you were a child, and how that is mirrored within your relationships now, and who you feel at home with. Okay, because we constantly look for similar dynamics as we have encountered while growing up, because that's what the definition of home becomes. So if that is not in alignment with who you are right now, it can cause internal conflict and stress. So if that is a thing, that is going to come up at this time. The same day, we have Pluto in Capricorn squaring with the North Node in Aries. So North Node is in your 12th house of the unconscious, karmic rewards, your sleep life, dream state, your imagination, intuition, and also, where do you have this unending fuel coming from? So this indicates you have high spiritual powers when you have Aries over there. Also, it indicates that you have good reflexes, even if that's not something that is out front. When people see you, it is still something that's within you. So with Pluto squaring the North Node, it indicates some, fateful intervention that can come up, which can be triggered through powerful authorities within a higher educational system or a religious or spiritual institution. This can also mean breaking free from belief systems that have been traditional and have been quite in your mind, or that's simply how you have been operating or relating with the greater whole. But again, if this is not holding true for you anymore, it does not show any meaning to keep holding on to it. So with squares here, this can talk about missed steps coming back around, especially when it relates with the North Node. So yes, whichever area among these categories need a fresh new introduction into your life, that topic is going to come up. But just keep in mind that because these are square aspects, it can feel initially startling or surprising and just kind of catch you off guard. Okay, but it does not necessarily mean that these are like horrible things, and no, stress does not mean that this is the end of the world, right? Okay, on the 10th, we have a favorable aspect between Mercury in Virgo with Jupiter in your sign. So earth sign trines, these are very nice for, material aspects, personal development and growth and self-expression, achievements in an external sense. But it also helps you relate with your physical environment and understand what your priorities are, what you find fulfilling, maybe develop some strategies or fix your schedules and routines in a way that you can incorporate more, joy, fascination, love, romance, and imagination, etc. into your everyday life. Because it's a trine aspect, it's harmonious, and this indicates that you have a good relationship with children, or you're, engaging in some hobbies, or you're going on dates or making plans for dates, and that is making you very buoyant and happy on this time and one day before after. On the 13th, we have the Sun conjoining with Venus, who's retrograde in the sign of Leo, and that's your 4th house. So once again, this can talk about delays in renovations if that's something ongoing, or it can be reconsiderations of wait, hang on, I know we chose this tile or this color scheme or whatever, and now I think I'm going to go in a different way, because the Sun meeting here can talk about some clarity coming in about what was not clear before. In some cases, this can also talk about different relationship histories and stories that you find out from your family. Like you might not have known that your mother had a boyfriend earlier, or something like that. Like, what is the story before the story? There can be some more revelations in that regard. It's not necessarily positive or negative. That's very subjective on your individual experience, but yes, there can be more recognition of where you're coming from, where your family is coming from, what were they before this family was a family, and so on. Also, same thing with like your home space, how you keep your home, and how your what you enjoy and things like that. So if your interests and hobbies are changing, maybe the makeup of the house and the flow of the house is also shifting in some way. Now, the 4th house also talks about your inner self. Okay, so every time I say home and family, feel free to replace that with inner self. This can be talking about finding greater self-love and making more time purposefully to spend time with yourself and understand yourself much deeper, because then you understand your unique way of showcasing your affections. On the 16th, we have a new moon in Leo. This can be new beginnings connected with your home and family and your inner self stage. There can be some introspective vibes going on because 4th house is quite private. Other people may not be able to see it, but you are going through some breakthroughs of your own. And this new moon is vaguely squaring with Uranus in Taurus. And it's not actually vague, it's quite close, actually. The Sun is squaring with Uranus, and this can talk about that personal breakthroughs and lots of growth within the self, and something that you have been struggling to release from yourself or liberate yourself from, that can also come about here. At the very least, there is some type of epiphany or action plan. The same day, we have Mars in Virgo trining with Uranus in Taurus. So there can be some favorable activities or actions or plans you're making connected to the things that you enjoy doing in life, whatever fulfills your soul, whichever way that you wish to make yourself known. Like if money was not a thing, if certain like necessities and obligations were not a thing, what would you do just for fun? These are the things where you're taking most action in, and that's where this breakthrough energy is as well supporting you. You just overall enjoy yourself or your time much more here. You also understand yourself deeper. On the 21st, we have the Sun in Leo trining with the North Node in Aries. This is a favorable aspect, and it's impacting your home family life and your 12th house of dream life, imagination, intuition, surrender, letting go, etc. So this is talking about you having a deeper understanding of where you're coming from, and that helps you surrender certain responsibilities or kind of set things. I keep hearing set things, the things that you took for granted, or you believed that this is just how it is and we don't need to question it, we don't need to think any deeper, and that's that. Those things can be shifting and changing, but in a very harmonious way, so you don't feel stressed in the situation. Instead, you're like, oh, okay, so all right, I understand this, and that's so liberating to know that, or it's so nice to hear that, or to understand that. So greater amounts of self-love as well, which allows you to let go of certain ways of being and acting, whatever. Now the 12th house also talks about, escapism. So if there are some escape methodologies or coping mechanisms that you have, then there can be some, understanding of that as well. Like, oh, yes, me and my relative do the same thing, and I understand that they had similar life circumstances, and I've had similar circumstances, quite different, but still, similar along the storylines. So I can understand what the consequences are by looking at my relative, because they're older or more experienced, and you can kind of see how a story unfolds, and you can take that into your advantage. This can also indicate that meditations and some time alone can help you understand yourself deeper and help you find more joy in life. On the 22nd, we have Venus in Leo squaring with Jupiter in Taurus. Once again, that square between the home and family and you is coming up here. And yes, there can be a desire to break many things, or like to break the mold basically and try out different things all at once. But just be mindful to not overspend on permanent situations. Try out samples and, do some temporary solutions and see if you like it. Kind of go back and forth on it. Don't try to rush making a decision at this time, because Mercury is just about to go retrograde. So any contracts and anything, new plans and strategies that you might make are likely to encounter some hiccups, and will go through major, shifts and changes. But we'll talk about that in just a second. But apart from that, also Venus is retrograde at this time. So what we consider is beautiful, or, what we would just enjoy forever, might not be the case, because we don't have that accuracy at this time. We're still going through a phase of, I don't know what I want. Let me see, let me explore, let me discover what this is. But every time that you discover something, it might feel like, yes, this is it, because Venus is in a fixed sign. Okay, so just be watchful. Venus squares with Jupiter can be overindulgent anyway. On another day when neither planet was retrograde and no new planets are turning retrograde, I would say yes, you know what, party, let loose, just have fun. But it's just something to watch out here. Okay, same day we have Mars in Virgo, right opposite Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune is retrograde. Once again, the topic comes up of your friendship life, or your networking, your social media, your humanitarian efforts as well, and the actions that you're doing every single day to make those a reality. So how are you coming to service in the world? Is that helping your aspirations? Is that taking you there? If not, what can be modified? What can be moderated in order to find that better balance? On the 23rd, the zodiac season shifts from Leo to Virgo. So the sun is moving from Leo to Virgo, and the focus is now shifting from your home and family environment to your 5th house of dating, creativity, romance, self-love, love in general, children, inner child. Okay, so more chances of creating some meaningful connections over here, or starting some hobbies that you are likely to continue, even though the appearance of it might change, or the look of it, the flavor of it is also likely to change, but you can still, you're still focusing more in that area. The same day, yes, like I was mentioning, Mercury goes retrograde, and Mercury is very strong in the sign of Virgo because it rules it, and this talks about taking an analytical approach and observing the things you have tried before. Okay, What have you tried before? What has not worked? This is wonderful time to reset, reevaluate, look deeper, introspect. Try not to make, outward decisions of, yes, this is the company for me, or this is the relationship for me, this is it and nobody else, So this is a very nice time to rethink and kind of check in with yourself of where you are. This can also be a time where your children are going through a bit of an introspective phase of they're thinking a lot deeper about themselves and what they're trying to do. Maybe they're trying to, develop their own schedules and routines or something like that, being more methodical, practicing things, analyzing situations, all of that. But if you have these as your interests, this indicates that your mind is very fast, but in a quiet way. Okay, so behind the scenes type of situations, that's where you can shine. Maybe not publishing yet. Okay, this is a time to just plan and let it sink in. Okay, let it sink in, let it form its full potential, whatever it is you're starting around this time. And like I said, observe on the 3rd what is coming up in your mind. What is that? The clouds are kind of starting to come in the horizon. And by clouds, I don't mean, ominous, okay? It's just that there's something coming in and you can kind of sense it, that I have a feeling that I'm going to focus more on this now. I really feel like doing something for myself. Things like that. Simple statements like this can indicate that energy is already coming in. So on the 23rd, that is going to be a pronounced event of like, okay, now is the time. This is when I put this into action. This is when I, check out of the office, or like go into busy mode or offline mode, whatever it is. And I'm going to do what I want. That's it. Okay. On the 25th, we have a trine between Mars in Virgo with Pluto in Capricorn. So 5th and 9th houses getting activated here, and earth signs, so they are at a harmonious angle to you. This talks about personal expansion. There can be some changes within the cultures and the visas that you're associated with, or you're making some plans to make that a possibility for yourself. This can also talk about your love life that's expanding if you're already connected with someone. This can be about deepening the conversation, doing something like a little bit more long term, maybe making a little bit of a long term plan, so that ensures that you're going to continue the relationship for at least some time. Other ways, it can talk about the things that you enjoy. You're looking at the future of it, whether or not you would like to continue it. There is a tendency to learn something new. So, taking an online course, perhaps, or if you're more of a traditional course person, you might take up classes and or think about enrolling in part-time education of sorts, to bring you more clarity and growth in that regard. On the 27th, we have an opposition between the Sun in Virgo and Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is retrograde. So there's some restructuring going on regarding your network, your friend life, your community in general, your larger community, and the humanitarian effort. So in whichever way that you practice charity and servitude, and however you show your unconditional love to the world, to your friends, whoever, this is about how much do you do for yourself. Are you taking enough responsibility for yourself? But also, are you showing up for the people who are in need around you? So it's time to find a good balance over here. The same day, we have Mars moving out of Virgo into Libra. So this is about finding, there is more strength in finding diplomacy with this particular aspect. Now, Mars is in its opposite sign, so it's not very much at home. It's quite outside of its home, okay? So this is kind of like being in the lady's house, and Mars just has to sit quietly and behave and kind of listen to what Venus is saying. But because Venus is retrograde at this time, and by the way, I say Venus because it rules Libra and also you, so it is definitely going to impact you. So Venus retrograde, it can be a little bit tricky for Mars to understand what she's saying. Okay, so he's going to have to be a little bit more careful about his words, because otherwise it can be misconstrued quite easily. Because we're connected to your 6th house, this can be talking about having difficulty finding a balance of your work life. So there can be a tendency to go full on and just do everything that is needed for other people, submit all the documents, have the conversations you need to have, etc., etc. But at the same time, you feel exhausted doing so. And the next day, you might want to not talk to anybody at all. So it might be a little bit challenging to manage the energy levels. I think try to be as conscious as possible and don't be hard on yourself if you're not able to find that balance initially. Over the course of time, it is going to be more possible. But this can definitely indicate you have more connections forming, lots of workplace activities. There can be misunderstandings in the workspace, not necessarily related to you, but it can be around you, and you might have to be the peacemaker. Okay, so that's something to watch for. Perhaps a little bit specific, will not resonate with everyone, but it's there. Okay, on the 29th, we have Uranus in Taurus going retrograde. So it's in your sign, and now you are likely to feel more stable because Uranus, while direct, is all about shaking things up, bringing in new information, loosening things that have been stuck for too long and all of that. Not very much about staying in the comfort zone. Meanwhile, Taurus is all about creating a comfort zone, having a stable, happy space, right? So when Uranus goes retrograde, I think you're going to feel a little bit of a relief. Okay, some rest time, especially because Mercury is also retro, Venus is it's all about downtime. Okay, so as much as you can, try to find that, or at the end of every day, just try to make sure that you have that quality time to yourself in some way, so that you can feel more like yourself, and you're also absorbing all of the changes that have happened in the recent past, the new insights that are coming in this month, in the previous month as well. You're kind of incorporating that into yourself at this time. On the 31st, we have another full moon. This one is in Pisces. So the sun is in Virgo, the moon is in Pisces, all about finding that good balance between your social life and your personal expression, what you do for others and what you do for yourself. Okay, trying to find a good balance here. And there is a trine aspect with the sun here with Jupiter. So and the moon is going to be together with Saturn, who is retrograde. So this is a little bit of an isolating one, but you're enjoying it as well because you're accomplishing certain things. You're learning a lot about yourself. You're expanding yourself. So I think this is something, it's like a much needed rest time with your closest people, or doing things that you enjoy just for the heck of it. Okay. So that's what I have for you. Thank you for being here. I really hope you enjoyed and that the messages help you out throughout the month. Stay tuned for the tarot reading as well. I will be uploading them soon. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified whenever that's up. And if you enjoyed the reading, please do like and comment your thoughts if you have any. It will be really lovely to hear back from you, and it really helps the channel grow as well. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.